Hello Mauricio. So today I'm going to show you what I have so far in the website, but today I'm going to be showing you the Shopify database. So here we have the connection. It'll connect to the SQL server. Then we have these dimensions, these data adapters who will run the select statements on the four tables. Then it'll fill the data tables. It will bind them to the four grid views, and then down here each button links and switches to a different multi-view. So here I have tested it. And yeah, you can see all the data. After some troubleshooting, I can say that I finally have gotten this part of my website to work. So we'll run through the code. I've got the customer products analytics. I've got frequent flyer 2, customer sales summary, weekly sales, day of week sales. So I basically set up multiple grid views on the sales analysis button. And here, as you can see, each button stores a SQL procedure from SSMS, and it gets loaded into the data table, and the grid view will display them. So here we are. Got my products, categories, customers, and then here are the different grid views. All working out, and we'll continue. All right, so I was finally able to add a new product and do these filtering lists. So I just added the cool shirt and the clothing, added 6 of them, 15 each from Thai Style. So here you can see it comes up at the bottom. And let's see, yep, 6 of them, category 2. So yeah. And here's all the code that runs that save a product procedure. So as you can see, it checks that all the required fields are filled and that the numeric is where it's needed, and then it calls a stored procedure to save the product down here. And then it has an output parameter that gives feedback for a success or error message. So here it is. And then it also has a procedure outcome one for success. So this basically just shows how we can add a new product with the stored procedure and have it work through this website. And here is the filter products list code. It takes these cases for in stock and for out of stock, and it selects this. So this is just everything, selecting it, ordering it by product ID. The in stock is where it's below 0, and then out of stock is when it's equal to 0. And then for the save a product, I did have to change some code from the videos. I just kept troubleshooting, and it wasn't reading it as a string. So I changed this validate statement, and here's the code again. Another thing was it's also duplicating here, and then here, and then here, and I added the cool shirt, and then it started duplicating those 4. So I'm not sure what is going on there. Here, same with the categories. Everything's empty. I think I need to change that in SQL. And yeah, here's the sales analysis. Again, I don't have a lot of customer data, so it's a little redundant. And this is just duplicating once again. I'm not sure, but here's all of that.
I do apologize for how long this has taken. It seems like every line of code I put in produced some sort of error, but here is as far as I've made it. So now Kind of Cool shirt is all the way down here. But now I'm going to move on to the Coog Hotel. Okay, one last thing. I added Mauricio Featherman at sportsfan.com from Todd Hall to my customers list, and he hasn't made any purchases yet, but here it is. And I just use the same kind of format of the stored procedure we've been running right here. Add new customer. This is the stored procedure right here. There you go. And yeah, as you can see, my customers are updated, and he's in there right here. Okay, Mauricio. So here is my Coog Hotel website. This is the reservations link page. I made it so you can choose one of the guests in one of the rooms and then set their checkout date. And then here is all the guest information I have, and I just added a new guest called Mauricio, who lives in Todd. I'll add another person here. Okay. And as you can see, it adds it to it. And then the extra services. Here, baking class for $30. As you can see, it makes a new ID for it and it adds it. And then here's all the current rooms. All right, so I'm going to explain the code here a little bit. It's quite similar to the Shopify code. So as you can see, we have some grid view refreshes. So it takes the data adapter and fills this new data table and selects from the guest table and then fills it. And that's how it runs the refresh grids. So this is the same for the guests, the extra services, the rooms, etc. Okay, so here's my navigation section. So each link, the reservations, guests, and all of them, switches the multi-view to the corresponding view. And the index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how it grabs it. So it makes the navigation work without refreshing the page for every link. So here we have our adding data section. So for example, for adding a guest, we use the SQL command that is connected to this button. So when the SQL command runs, you insert the values that you have listed here, and these are the parameters to them. And it's basically the same for extra services, reservations, except for the fact that reservations takes the guest ID, room ID, and checkout date, whereas this takes these parameters. And so basically, the summary of how the page flows is the page loads and the grid views are filled from the SQL database. And then you click one of the navigation links and the multi-view switches to that section. And then when you add a guest or reservation or a service or whatever you're doing to the database, it runs the insert statement and the grid view refreshes. And everything uses the same connection and uses parameterized queries. So that's what gives us this result. And all right, thank you for watching. Sorry once again for just the delay in this assignment. It's taken me quite a while. I've been trying to learn every part of it. And there's a lot, and I still need to figure out how to do these graphs and this management charts, but stay tuned for my final project.